I want you to imagine this for a moment. You're standing up from your favorite chair, ready to take a step, but your legs feel strangely heavy, almost like they aren't listening to you. Or maybe you've noticed that pins and needles sensation in your feet or a little wobble in your balance that didn't used to be there. Has that ever happened to you? Many of my patients over 60 come to me with that same story. One of them Mrs. Anderson told me, "Doctor, sometimes I feel like my feet just forget how to move." She thought it was simply aging, but after a few tests, we discovered she was deficient in vitamin B12. You see, B12 is more than just a vitamin. It's like the electricity that keeps the lights on in your house. Without it, the signals from your brain to your legs don't travel properly. The result? Weakness, numbness, even trouble staying steady on your feet. And the truth is, many seniors are low in B12 without even knowing it, because as we age, our stomach produces less acid and struggles to absorb this vital nutrient. But here's the hopeful part. Once Mrs. Anderson started restoring her B12, her legs felt stronger, her balance improved, and she regained that simple confidence of walking across the room without fear. That's the power of a nutrient working quietly behind the scenes. So the next time you feel your legs dragging or your steps uncertain, ask yourself, is it just age? Or is it your body whispering that it needs more B12? I remember a gentleman named Robert, 72 years old, who came to see me because his nights were constantly interrupted. "Doctor," he said, "I'm woken up by these awful leg cramps. It feels like someone's twisting my calf with all their strength." Maybe you've had nights like that, too, sharp cramps that leave you sitting at the edge of the bed waiting for the pain to pass. What Robert didn't realize was that his body was quietly running low on potassium. You see, potassium is like the conductor of an orchestra, making sure your muscles contract and relax in harmony. Without enough of it, the music falls apart. Muscles spasm, legs tremble, and even simple walks can feel unsteady. But potassium's role doesn't stop at the muscles. It also helps neutralize excess acid in the body, protecting calcium from being pulled out of your bones. Over time, this means stronger bones and a lower risk of osteoporosis. It's nature's way of defending both muscle and bone together, two pillars that keep us standing tall as we age. When Robert began adding potassium-rich foods like bananas, sweet potatoes, and spinach, his nights became calmer. The cramps eased, his steps grew steadier, and he told me he finally slept through the night without fear. So I ask you, if your legs have been whispering through cramps, stiffness, or trembling, could it be that what you truly need is not more rest, but more potassium? I once had a patient, Mrs. Johnson, 67, who told me, "Doctor, every time I stand up, my knees feel stiff like rusty hinges on an old door." Maybe you felt something similar, the ache in your joints when you climb the stairs or that grinding feeling in your knees when you walk too long. That's when I explained to her the quiet magic of omega-3. Think of omega-3 as nature's oil for your joints, smoothing, calming, and keeping everything moving more freely. It doesn't just soothe inflammation in aching knees and hips. It also improves blood flow, carrying oxygen and nutrients to every corner of your legs. The truth is, as we age, our bodies produce more inflammation than they can calm. That's why joints swell, knees stiffen, and walking feels heavier than it used to. But foods rich in omega-3 like salmon, sardines, flax seeds, or even a handful of walnuts can change that story. When Mrs. Johnson began including more omega-3s in her meals, she noticed her steps felt lighter, her stiffness lessened, and she could once again enjoy her evening walks. She said, "It feels like my knees are mine again." So let me ask you, are your joints creaking, or could it be your body simply asking for the lubrication that only omega-3 can provide? I remember Mrs. Carter, 74, who came to see me after a small fall in her garden. Luckily, she didn't break anything, but she confessed, "Doctor, I feel weaker on my feet these days. It's like my legs can't hold me steady." Maybe you felt that too, that subtle wobble when you get up from a chair, or the fear of missing a step on the stairs. What many don't realize is that vitamin D isn't just about bones. It's the sunshine nutrient that powers your muscles, sharpens your balance, and protects you from dangerous falls. Without it, the body struggles, muscles weaken, reaction time slows, and even a simple stumble can turn into a fracture. Science shows that older adults with enough vitamin D not only have stronger muscle fibers, but also steadier coordination. It's like giving your legs the fuel they've been craving. And yet so many seniors are deficient because our skin loses its ability to make vitamin D from sunlight as we age, and we often spend less time outdoors. When Mrs. Carter began spending a few minutes in the morning sun and adding salmon and fortified milk to her diet, something shifted. Her steps grew more confident, her balance steadier. She told me, "Doctor, I feel like I can trust my legs again." So, I'll ask you this, when was the last time you gave your body the sunlight, the nourishment, and the vitamin D it needs to keep you standing tall? I once had a patient, Mr. Allen, 76, who came to me after a fall in his kitchen. It wasn't a big accident, just a slip on the tile floor, yet he fractured his hip. Sitting in my office, he sighed and said, "Doctor, I never thought something so small could take away my independence." That's the quiet truth about calcium. It isn't just a mineral in your milk. It's the very foundation of your bones, the scaffolding that keeps your hips, knees, and ankles strong enough to carry you through each day. Without enough calcium, bones grow fragile like dry twigs that can snap with the slightest pressure. But calcium's role goes deeper than bone density. Every step you take, every time you rise from a chair, calcium is right there triggering your muscles to contract and release smoothly. Without it, movements become shaky, cramps more frequent, and endurance fades. The good news, calcium is all around us in a glass of yogurt, a handful of almonds, a serving of leafy greens. And when paired with vitamin D, it finds its way directly into your bones, making them denser, stronger, more resilient. I told Mr. Allen, we can't erase that fall, but we can build back your strength. With the right diet and daily walks, he slowly regained his mobility. His smile said it all. He felt like himself again. So I ask you, are you giving your bones the nourishment they need, or are you leaving them vulnerable to the weight of time? I remember Mr. Harris, 68, who came to see me complaining, "Doctor, I feel weaker these days. My arms tire quickly and climbing stairs feels like carrying a heavy load." He thought it was just old age catching up, but when I looked closer, I realized his diet was missing one essential building block: protein. Protein is more than just something bodybuilders talk about. It's the very fabric of your muscles, the bricks and mortar that keep your legs strong and your body steady. Without enough quality protein, the body slowly loses muscle, a condition we call sarcopenia. It doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in quietly: weaker thighs, slower steps, more difficulty rising from a chair. But the hopeful truth is muscle can be rebuilt at any age. I've seen it happen. Mr. Harris began adding simple, high-quality proteins to his meals: eggs in the morning, Greek yogurt for a snack, a piece of salmon or chicken breast for dinner. Within weeks, he told me, I feel steadier, stronger, like I've gotten a piece of my youth back. That's the power of protein. It doesn't just feed your body, it restores your independence. Every spoonful is like an investment in your future strength. So let me ask you, when you sit down to eat, are you feeding just your hunger? Or are you also feeding the muscles that carry you through life? I once had a patient, Mrs. Lee, 70 years old, who told me, "Doctor, my nights are the hardest. Just as I'm about to fall asleep, my legs cramp so badly I have to jump out of bed." Maybe you felt that too, the sudden tightness in your calf that robs you of rest. That's when I explained to her about magnesium. Magnesium is like the quiet conductor of your muscles, making sure they contract and relax in perfect rhythm. Without enough of it, the music turns into noise, cramps, spasms, even restless legs that keep you awake at night. But magnesium doesn't stop there. It also works with calcium to build strong bones and helps guide calcium into the right places: your skeleton, not your arteries. Without it, calcium can cause stiffness instead of strength. And when stress medications or poor diet quietly drain magnesium from the body, something I see often in seniors, the result is heavy legs, low energy, and broken sleep. When Mrs. Lee began adding magnesium-rich foods, a handful of almonds, pumpkin seeds, spinach, she noticed something remarkable. The cramps eased, her sleep grew deeper, and she woke up with lighter steps. I often say magnesium is like a lullaby for your muscles and your mind. So let me ask you, are your nights restless because of age, or is it simply your body whispering for more magnesium? I remember Mr. Daniel, 73, who told me, "Doctor, I drink milk every day, I take calcium, but my knees still ache and feel stiff. What am I missing?" His question is one I hear often. Many people focus on calcium and vitamin D, but forget the quiet partner that makes them truly effective: vitamin K. Think of vitamin K as the traffic controller of your body. Calcium is like a truckload of bricks. Without guidance, those bricks can pile up in the wrong places in your blood vessels, causing stiffness instead of in your bones where they belong. Vitamin K gives calcium direction, guiding it into your skeleton, strengthening hips, knees, and ankles while keeping arteries clean and flexible. But there's more. Vitamin K also soothes inflammation in the joints. I've seen patients with stiff, aching knees regain smoother movement after adding more leafy greens or even fermented foods like natto and aged cheese into their diet. It's a reminder that sometimes the answer isn't another pill, but simply the right nutrient in the right place. Mr. Daniels eventually told me, "Doctor, I can bend and walk without that grinding pain. I feel younger." And I smiled, because that's the quiet power of vitamin K. Not flashy, not loud, but deeply essential. So let me ask you, are your bones and joints truly nourished, or are they still waiting for that gentle guidance vitamin K provides? I remember Mrs. Miller, 69, who came to me and said, "Doctor, I take my vitamins, I try to eat well, but somehow my body doesn't feel stronger. I'm always bloated, and I wonder if the nutrients even reach me." Her words made me think immediately about the foundation we often overlook: the gut. You see, fiber and probiotics are like the gardeners of your inner soil. Fiber feeds the good bacteria, and probiotics are those good bacteria themselves. Together, they keep the gut lining healthy, making sure that when you take calcium or magnesium, your body actually absorbs them instead of letting them slip away. Without this healthy foundation, even the best diet can feel incomplete. But the benefits go beyond digestion. A balanced gut reduces chronic inflammation, the quiet fire that ages our joints, stiffens our muscles, and drains our energy. I've seen patients who simply added a daily cup of yogurt, a serving of kefir or more leafy greens, and within weeks, they felt lighter, their bowels more regular, and even their joint pain eased. Mrs. Miller later told me, "Doctor, it feels like my whole system works smoother now." And I smiled, because sometimes health isn't about adding more pills or supplements. It's about tending the garden inside. So let me ask you, are you feeding that inner garden with enough fiber and probiotics, or are you leaving it barren, expecting your body to thrive on its own? You know, after all these years as a doctor, I've realized something simple but profound: health isn't built in a single day, nor is it lost in a single day. It's shaped quietly by the choices we make again and again in the smallest of moments. A spoonful of chia in the morning, a handful of walnuts at night, a walk under the sun, a serving of greens on your plate. I've watched patients regain their strength, steady their balance, and even rediscover the joy of movement, not because of some miracle drug, but because they listened to what their bodies were asking for, and they nourished it with care. So let me leave you with this thought: age does not take away your power of choice. Every bite, every step, every habit you practice is like casting a vote for the future you want to live. Will you choose weakness and worry, or will you choose strength, independence, and joy? If this message resonated with you, share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so we can keep walking this journey together, living healthier, fuller, and stronger, no matter the number of candles on the cake.